A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. If he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. Arthur Schopenhauer. You see the quiet games being played behind polite smiles. You hear the unspoken intentions beneath carefully chosen words, and it forces you to make a choice, often a lonely one. But this isn't just a story about being lonely, it's a story about sacrifice. The sacrifice a deep thinker sometimes makes to protect their most powerful tool, their own mind. The unseen game. Have you ever been in a casual conversation and suddenly felt a chasm open up? You share an observation that goes a little deeper than the surface, and you're met with a few polite nods before someone quickly changes the subject. That feeling of being an outsider, an observer in a world full of participants, is a quiet reality for many who think deeply. It's the sense that while everyone else is playing the game, you're the one who can't help but see the rules and the hidden score. This isn't paranoia, it's a different kind of perception. And while it's a gift, it can feel like an invisible wall between you and everyone else. A lot of this disconnect boils down to communication. Most social interactions are built on a foundation of small talk and pleasantries that act as a kind of social glue. But for someone who craves depth, these exchanges can feel draining and intellectually thin. This doesn't come from a place of arrogance, but from a genuine struggle to engage with what feels like a performance. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer famously viewed society as a grand stage where most people are caught up in superficial chatter. In his view, the deep thinker is the one who has wandered backstage, seen all the props and scripts, and can no longer find the play convincing. This often leads to a profound sense of being misunderstood. When you see the world in layers of complexity and nuance, it's hard to share that view with people who prefer things to be simple and straightforward. Your silence might be seen as being aloof, your questions might come off as confrontational, and your observations can sound overly critical. In many social settings, fitting in is valued more than standing out. A mind that constantly questions and deconstructs can feel like a disruptive force. And so, the deep thinker often learns to stay quiet, not because they have nothing to say, but because they've learned that saying it can come at the cost of connection. The burden of clarity. This feeling of isolation isn't just a social preference. It can be rooted in a tricky psychological dynamic. The very presence of a deep thinker can unintentionally make some people uncomfortable. It's not about intelligence in a competitive way. It's about perspective. When you naturally question underlying assumptions, it can feel like a subtle challenge to the comfortable illusions others hold. You don't have to say a word. Your way of listening and observing can be enough to make people feel exposed, and in a world where many prefer comfort over hard truths, the person reflecting that truth is often the one who gets pushed away. This gets amplified by our basic human need for group harmony. From an evolutionary standpoint, fitting in with the tribe meant survival. Solomon Asch's famous conformity experiments in the 1950 seconds showed just how powerful this pull is. He found that a surprising number of people would knowingly give a wrong answer just to go along with the group. While 76% of participants conformed at least once, those who resisted were more concerned with being true to their own perceptions than with fitting in. Deep thinkers often find themselves in that latter group. They can't bring themselves to say a line is shorter when they see it's longer. They're often wired to prioritize what they see as true over social consensus, a trait that isn't always rewarded. This relentless pursuit of clarity can feel like a burden. You start to see the contradictions in societal narratives, the flaws in traditions, and the absurdities in everyday behavior. This awareness can make it hard to find simple, uncomplicated joy in things that seem to make everyone else happy. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche noted, comforting beliefs can be more dangerous enemies of truth than lies. The deep thinker is often the one left to carry the weight of that unsettling reality. This clarity is their gift, but it's also what carves out the space of their solitude. The conscious choice. Over time, something fundamental can start to shift. The loneliness that once felt like a painful side effect of being different can slowly morph into a conscious choice. The deep thinker starts to realize that constantly trying to connect with a world that doesn't resonate is far more exhausting than the solitude they used to fear. They begin to see that isolation doesn't have to be a punishment. It can be a necessary act of self-preservation. It becomes a deliberate retreat to protect their most valuable asset, a clear, uncompromised mind. This choice is a defensive strategy in a world filled with noise. The modern world is a constant battle for our attention, full of endless distractions and the pressure to engage. For a deep thinker, this isn't just background noise. It's a direct assault on their ability to think clearly. They understand that genuine insight requires silence and focus. So, they choose to step back from the chaotic energy of the crowd, not out of dislike, but to build a sanctuary for their thoughts. This isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about being ruthlessly selective about where they invest their mental energy. It's why they often prefer to tackle problems alone, finding it more efficient than navigating group dynamics. This sacrifice is often made for a higher purpose. Instead of looking for validation from the outside world, they turn inward, finding fulfillment in their own thoughts and discoveries. They understand that the most profound answers are rarely found in the echo chamber of social approval, but in the quiet of their own mind. This path takes discipline. It means choosing to wrestle with a complex idea over the easy pleasure of social distraction. It means accepting that you're on a journey most people won't understand. But the reward is a rare kind of freedom, the freedom to think your own thoughts and live by the truths you find for yourself. The Fortress of Solitude. The final stage in this journey is reframing loneliness as a fortress. What society might label as isolation, the deep thinker can come to see as sacred solitude. It's important to distinguish between loneliness, which is a painful feeling, and solitude, which is simply the state of being alone. Many thinkers and philosophers have argued that this kind of solitude is a privilege, a powerful tool for intellectual and creative work. Schopenhauer once said, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. It is only when he is alone that he is really free." This solitude is the fertile ground where ideas can flourish without the risk of groupthink. This fortress isn't built of stone, but of intention. It's a mental space protected from the trivialities of the outside world. Inside these walls, the deep thinker isn't lonely. They're free to pursue knowledge, to do the deep work that gives their life meaning, and to cultivate an inner world that's more vibrant than any superficial social event. This doesn't mean rejecting all human connection. In fact, time spent in chosen solitude can lead to a greater appreciation for others and help form deeper, more meaningful bonds with the few like-minded people they find. They just no longer need constant interaction to feel whole. History is filled with figures who walked a solitary path, people like Tesla or Nietzsche, who were often misunderstood in their own time. Their insights made the status quo uncomfortable. Yet, it's often the people who dare to think differently and stand apart who ultimately push humanity forward. While solitude is a powerful tool, it's also true that collaboration and social interaction are crucial for other kinds of breakthroughs. But for these thinkers, the willingness to embrace their time alone wasn't a curse. It was the price of their insight. If this journey of choosing truth over comfort resonates with you, consider subscribing for more content that explores the path less traveled. And share your own experiences with this double-edged sword in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. So, are deep thinkers doomed to be alone? Maybe doomed is the wrong word. They are often drawn to a path that is by its nature, solitary. But that solitude doesn't have to be a curse. It's a reflection of a commitment to something deeper than just fitting in. The path is undeniably lonely at times, but that loneliness can also be the source of their greatest strength. It is the quiet crucible where their most powerful insights are forged. The world isn't changed by those who blend in, but by those who dare to stand apart, armed with the clarity they fought so hard to protect. Perhaps that feeling of isolation isn't a weakness. It's the price of admission for a mind that refuses to stop asking why.